Habari Gani Mainduga Nadada. This is your Baba. Abu Amin Ra coming at you one more time. Hopefully you will be spending about 2 or 3 minutes of your time with me on this information I want to share with you. This information is directed towards black people, especially those black people who speak against reparations. Do you understand what I'm saying? Those black people who the government committee has appointed to represent blacks, Africans, in the study of reparations. My brothers and sisters, here's the first mistake we're making. Why do you think we have to let them choose who's going to represent us? We must pick who we want to represent us and send them to them. People who are capable of talking about reparations, bringing you the evidence, proving our case as a lawyer proves his case. Listen, my brothers and sisters, we gotta wake up. Reparations are due us, and we must demand reparations. Why do I say demand reparations? I say demand reparations because we've been begging and asking and cajoling for reparations now ever since we've been released from chattel physical enslavement. My brothers and sisters, listen to me, please. We'll do reparations. We are due reparations primarily because they have sent us through a Holocaust. The Jews who claim they lost 6 million people in the Holocaust that was practiced on them in Germany received reparations from Germany. Listen, my brothers and sisters, everybody who has been due reparations has been given reparations but us. Listen, do you know what reparations are? Reparations are repair. In other words, to try to turn things back to their normalcy had slavery not been committed. So listen, my people. They stole our ancestors' labor for 255 years. Are you listening to me? Labor. Labor plus land equals wealth. This is how the United States government, many plantation owners, and others who were coincidental to the slave trade made off of our ancestors without compensating our ancestors adequately for their labor. Now listen, all slavery was is the management of labor, the stealing of labor, the taking of labor. This is what they did to us, my brothers and sisters. They took our labor for 255 years. They made so much money on it that it caused the rise of capitalism. So they owe us our back pay, our ancestors' back pay, brother. But if you know something, the money is ours. Have you ever heard of the inheritance law? Whatever a group of people earn in wealth is passed on to their descendants or inherited by their descendants. So we need to ask ourselves, what happened to all of that money that was made off of the slave trade and the cotton plantations and the sugar plantations? What happened to it? I'll tell you what happened to it, my brothers and sisters. It was stolen by the slave masters and others, invested, and the investments were passed on to their descendants. So you see, they owe us a lot. It's been calculated by one person who wrote on the reparations, a white school teacher, I might add, a scholar. He computed in a massive book he wrote that each descendant of the chattel slaves in the United States of America would due $1.5 million as compensation from the labor that was taken from their ancestors, which should be a part of their wealth that was stolen and passed on to the plantation owners' descendants and other white persons' descendants, and they're living a good life with it now. My brothers and sisters, please listen to me. Please try to understand what I'm trying to tell you. They stole our labor. If we had the proceeds that was equal to the amount of labor our ancestors put in on those plantations from sunup to sundown, 6 days a week for 255 years, we would have as much wealth as white people. White people have 100%, and we have less than 0.5% of wealth. So where's our wealth? I'll tell you where our wealth is. Our wealth is in the hands of those who exploited us and were part of the slave system, chattel slave system in the United States of America from 1619 to 1865. Chattel enslavement. My brothers and sisters, the United States government, which made slavery legal, which turned its head while those who enslaved us and our ancestors made profits off of us, they were wrong. They owe us, but they're not going to pay us. They're not the only ones who owe us. The churches, the Catholic Church owes us. They made tons of money off of our chattel enslavement. The church, generally speaking, owe us so much money it's unbelievable. The Jews, whom received reparations for themselves for their Holocaust in Germany, they owe us reparations also. They were involved in slavery just like everybody else. They owned ships. They provided capital. They were the captains on ships. They had plantations. They were involved in slavery, and they owe us reparations. Who else owes us reparations? My brothers and sisters, the 3 civilized Indian tribes owe us reparations. The Cherokee, the Choctaw, and the Chickasaw Indians in the southeast part of the United States owe us reparations. And when the United States signed a treaty with them, they demanded and told them they had to give us reparations, 40 acres and a mule, and $1 per capita for every slave they had in control. But they never paid us, and they won't pay us. You see, everybody has gotten what was due them but us, because everybody recognizes we are chumps. Even the Indians won't pay their reparation that they owe us. The Choctaw, the Cherokee, and the Chickasaw Indians, they were notorious slave owners, slave catchers, and the lot. So my brothers and sisters, they all know we are chumps. They all know most of us don't want reparations. They know most of us don't even understand reparations. And they know most of us are going to be on their side when they decide not to give us reparations. So my brothers and sisters, the only way we are going to get reparations is if we demand reparations. We have to demand it and let them know. If they ignore our demand, this demand comes with a dire consequence, and be willing to provide the consequence if they do not provide reparations. So we must demand reparations. We must demand reparations from the United States government. We need to go through the records, look up those slave owners who owned slaves and make them pay reparations. Those presidents, starting with George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and a host of others, had slaves in the hundreds and thousands, each one of them. They owe us reparations. Do you hear me, my brothers and sisters? That's ours. If we had our wealth that our ancestors produced on those slave plantations, we could be as well off as anybody else. We could have businesses and we could have all kinds of financial institutions if we had our money. But you see, we are starting on an unlevel playing field when we try to get in business with them. They have us in a trick bag. But my brothers and sisters, we must not let them give us civil rights in lieu of reparations. We need reparations. We need repair. We need for them to return what they stole and fix what they've broken us. Or else, after we demand it, deal a heavy consequence on them that they may not be able to survive. You understand what I'm saying? We must demand reparations. We are due reparations. But we need to pick our own people who are going to negotiate and speak for reparations with us. And we don't need football players and baseball players, buck dancers. We don't need the Black Caucus. We need experts, scholars, who have done their work and done the study and know what they are talking about, who are capable of presenting their case like a prosecutor and prosecuting the United States government, Jews, the Indians, and everybody else that was involved in slavery and those who inherited our ancestors' fortunes and wealth. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Hope you take it to heart. I hope you act on it. And I hope you come to an understanding that we are due reparations. Ain't nothing nobody giving us. It's something that our ancestors worked for and was stolen from them. Something they could have passed down to us, but instead it was passed down to the slave masters and slavers' children. So I hope this has influenced you to understand that we are due reparations. We need reparations. But we're not going to get reparations until we get serious about it and demand reparations. Once again, my brothers and sisters, peace and hotep to you.